Good morning for AM 1340 and 99.5 FM WGRV. This is Reid Seals, and I'm here for our monthly interview with Greene County Mayor Kevin Morrison. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Reid. How are you?
Doing fine.
Great.
For our first question, can you kind of list the reasons you suggested the appointment of Heather Sipe as the new director of the Emergency Management Agency?
Heather is very well qualified. Heather's been with the Emergency Management Agency here in Greene County since April of 2003, so it's coming up on 17 years. She's been tested. When Bill Brown, the longtime EMA director here, retired in September of 2019, we put Heather in an interim position. I wanted to see basically if Heather could handle the response side of the house. She has a very good command knowledge of the paperwork side of the house that needs to be completed for, the floods, that sort of thing, the disasters that are declared. But she has stepped up to the plate and handled an unprecedented amount of disasters and problems and issues and that sort of thing. So she's been tested most recently with the Profile production fire. I mean, she handled 56 different volunteer fire departments. That spanned across 2 counties in terms of EMA response. And she's just done a wonderful job for us. So it was a great pleasure to take the time and appoint her into the permanent position and take advantage of all of the experience that she has and the leadership that she can provide. So Greene County EMA is in a great spot with Heather.
Can you explain the Chick-fil-A tax increment financing? TIFs are kind of a hard subject for some people to grasp, I would say.
Yes, Reid, they are. A lot of folks see them perhaps as some type of government giveaway to corporate entities that don't need the money. Tax increment financing is generally set up to offer a tax incentive for businesses or restaurants, for instance, to come into a blighted area and have some of the development cost offset. Essentially paying it forward, I guess, it's not necessarily a roulette with our tax dollars, but we offset with a modest amount of tax dollars that development cost so that we can use, for instance, the developers that bring in businesses like Chick-fil-A as a catalyst to attract other businesses to our community. Obviously, everybody wants to hit the home run or reach the brass ring and get some type of, rocket factory type thing. But all of this sort of starts small and modestly and then builds and builds and builds and builds. The Aubrey's was a TIF that's still ongoing, that has been, very lucrative for our community. The Food City, the Crockett Crossing out there where Ollie's is, was a TIF, and it will be paid off actually 3 years early. Again, we offered the TIF to the developer for the Chick-fil-A to take advantage of the blighted area that was the old Ryan's restaurant. So that's going to be a much more attractive location in our town now and generate more tax dollars down the road. So we're giving a little up front to get a lot more later, and that's essentially what a TIF is.
What is the purpose of the $12.50 fine that goes to the Public Defender's Office that was voted on at Tuesday's meeting, and how is it paid? How is this fine paid?
It's paid through a litigation fee or a litigation tax, Reid. The commission, in a unanimous vote, basically with everybody that was there, decided to raise the litigation tax $12.50 specifically set aside for the Public Defender's Office. In combating the opioid crisis that we have and other sort of recidivism type things in our justice system, the $12.50 will be used by the Public Defender's Office to provide a pathway, if you will, through a social worker type network to help people find their way back in terms of putting their lives back together. Oftentimes what we see or what we have seen prior to this is people just revert back to their old ways because they sort of have no help or no guide, if you will, for getting people back on their feet in terms of a job, in terms of a bank account, transportation, those types of things. So those are all issues that are sort of part and parcel to this fee. And the $12.50 goes directly to the public defender's office. And the people that pay this, obviously, are the ones that are using the system, the ones that come into the justice system that would be using that would be levied the fee or the tax. For instance, a traffic stop, that sort of thing. If you received a speeding ticket, those would be the people that would be paying this additional monies. It would also be levied, for instance, additionally on the truck scales on Interstate 81 below exit 23. So.
And this was brought up at Tuesday's meeting a lot about the paint at the county schools and their capital projects. And can you explain all that and what they're spending the money on when it comes to especially the paint for the middle schools?
Yeah, the school board has decided to go to a middle school format beginning at the end of this school year. That would transform, for instance, Otway into North Greene Middle School. It would transform DeBusk Middle School into South Greene Middle School, as well as Mossheim into West Greene Middle School, and of course Chuckey Doak currently is Chuckey Doak Middle School. But at places, for instance, like Otway, Mossheim, and DeBusk, the school colors would be changed. The bleachers would be changed. I know, for instance, the parent-teacher organization, the Booster Club at DeBusk, was especially commended at Monday's meeting, or at Tuesday's meeting, rather, for raising the money and actually changing and upgrading the floor in the gymnasium and helping out with the funds there. But it provides some form of loyalty and identity to the high school that the kids would be transitioning to later in their career, in their student career, and upgrades, for instance, with the bleachers that are 20, 25 plus years old, to a more newer, aesthetically more pleasing piece of equipment that's and instills a little pride into the school. So,
tell us once again about the census this year.
Well, the census is we've gained a lot of interest in the census. We've had a lot of people sign up for jobs in the census here in Greene County. The commission passed at our meeting on Tuesday night an expenditure for advertising and raising awareness of the census, because these demographic numbers are so very important to us. In referring back to, for instance, the Chick-fil-A and any type of business or industry that would come to Greeneville and Greene County, they look at this demographic information to make a decision based on the population that's within a certain radius of downtown, to determine whether or not that they would be successful in their business model if they chose Greeneville and Greene County as a place to do business. So the census numbers are very important. There are still jobs available. The census jobs here in Greene County pay $15.50 an hour. The number to call if you're interested in a census job is 1-855-JOB-2020, and that's the Census Bureau. And they can sign you up to be a census worker here in Greene County as the census ramps up, if you will, with Census Day being April 1st. The census surveys will be coming out in mid-March to be filled out. We certainly encourage everyone to complete the census survey for their family or household and send it back in so that we have the most accurate, complete count possible, because this information is so vital to us, not just for business and industry, but for federal and state tax dollars. And, people often wonder why we get these grants. Lots of times these grants are based on population numbers or per capita numbers. So, it's very important. So make sure you're counted.
Go ahead and tell me about the Employee of the Month.
The Employee of the Month, that was a great part of our meeting. Miss Callie Lister, and she works in the county court clerk's office for Lori Bryant. And Callie does an exceptional job. She largely handles the titling for automobile dealerships, the rental car businesses in town, and it's very important that the job that she does is done promptly and accurately, because that is one of the largest portions of revenue actually coming into the county court clerk's office. We certainly don't want to delay anyone, particularly our dealerships and things like that, selling new cars for their customers. We want to provide friendly customer service, and Callie does that. So we recognized her for, the exceptional job that she does. She's always got a smile on her face, even in the midst of chaos sometimes at the end of the month, when that office is completely swamped with customers. Callie is diligently doing her job. She's a consummate professional, but she organized a benefit supper and auction for a colleague that fell ill on her own time, while at the same time taking care of her sick mother. And that just rose, again, in my eyes, to a level that goes above and beyond what an employee should do, not just in their job and the performance of their job, but for their fellow man. And we received more, I guess, letters of support and recommendation that Callie be named the Employee of the Month, and we were happy to do that. She is definitely a jewel.
Now, the County Commission meetings are now being broadcast on the Radio Greeneville Facebook page. Tell us about that.
Yes, the Radio Greeneville has been a great, tremendous media partner in allowing us to use their Facebook page to stream our meetings monthly. We started last month. Last month's meeting went, as far as the Facebook Live, the streaming goes, it seemed much more smooth than Tuesday night's meeting. We had a few technical issues, as sometimes is the case, particularly with we've had some feedback about the sound quality. Obviously, when you're trying to capture a whole room's worth of people, you have a large number of folks in the gallery, a large number of commissioners. So in order to get the picture of, for instance, all the participants in, sometimes the sound quality will suffer. We're working on that. We're actually looking at potentially getting some type of new amplification device to make the sound quality a little bit better. The video picture is actually pretty good. We also record on CD the county commission meetings, hopefully very soon to be played on Channel 18 perhaps, and then with Comcast, so that people that can attend the commission meetings, that sort of want to see what their government is doing and what's going on, they can do that. And but Radio Greeneville, I can't compliment Ron and the whole staff here enough, as they've been a great media partner in allowing us to do that, have been helpful at every turn, and we're just happy to have that partnership.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for the kind words, and thank you for joining us this morning on AM 1340 and 99.5 FM WGRV. I'm Reid Seals, and thank you for listening.